Today is Boxing Day, and we've just been fighting for a good chunk of the day. So no vlogging. But today is the first day of going down on carbohydrates. So I was eating about 130-ish carbs a day on my normal diet, and so we're cutting that in half to about 60 to 65 grams of carbs. So this is what we are cooking for dinner.
Well, sausage and broccoli.
Sausage and broccoli. We're pretty short on groceries, and it's the day after Christmas, so bear with us until we are able to do a more fulfilling grocery trip.
No, unsee it. Unsee it. Unsee it. Unsee it. See it. Unsee it.
What are you eating, Teddy?
Orange.
Almond butter jam sandwich. Carb Central. On your bum, please. Thank you. Good job.
We have a pretty set routine when it comes to grocery shopping, and we typically tend to get the same items every time we go to the grocery store. And so it is quite the adjustment actually to reconsider which items we're reaching for at the grocery store and kind of rethink how we do our grocery shopping.
This doesn't look keto.
There's no carbs in there.
What are you looking at? The bear. Let's see your roar.
In addition to reconsidering what we grocery shop for, focusing more on foods that are denser in fats and proteins and less heavy on carbs, we're also trying to adhere to a more whole foods based diet and really reducing the amount of processed foods we eat. Now that said, we are definitely going to make mistakes throughout this process, and we're not going to get everything right, but we're kind of trying to take you along with us through learning about this process and learning how to fuel our bodies in a better way for our brains.
So this is our grocery haul. I feel like I'm an official YouTuber now doing a haul video. I feel like I should be saying something like, smash that like button and hit subscribe to see more hauls. But this is what we got on our grocery trip, shopping specifically for keto products. And I just want to start off by saying that I realize that this is kind of a huge amount of groceries, and it's kind of the more expensive groceries that you can get too. And so I understand that this is not exactly accessible for everyone. And so we do want to be mindful of that throughout this process. And we will be creating videos specifically around how to do keto on a budget, because I know that that's a reality of a lot of people who are going to be watching these videos, that you are on a tighter budget and it's not always accessible to get this amount of food or the best quality food or whatever it may be. Keto can be a little bit more expensive because you're focusing on things like meats and vegetables and cheeses and, fat products, which are typically a little bit more expensive. So we are mindful of that, but I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of the kinds of foods that we're focusing on, getting our kitchen and fridge ready for following a keto diet. So just a little refresher, when I'm talking about the keto diet, I'm talking about a diet that is very, very low in carbohydrates. I'm going to be on a diet restricting my carbohydrates to 20 grams per day, which really is not a lot when you actually get down to looking at the nutrition labels on packets and finding out how many carbs are in products that you might not even think about as carb heavy. Okay, so to start off kind of walking you through what we got, I will start with the kind of more fats and protein heavy foods. So we'll start off with meats maybe. We got quite a good assortment of meats. We got flank steak, which is good to, just always kind of have on hand. You can throw it in salads, you can throw it with mixed vegetables, you can throw it with cauliflower, rice, whatever. It's pretty versatile. We got some ground turkey and ground beef. We got organic ground beef, trying to stay as, organic and whole foods as possible. I know that that's, again, not always accessible, but if you have the option, it's probably a good idea. Those things are really good for things like stuffed bell peppers. You stuff it with cheese and ground meat, and that's really good. It's also, I like just mixing ground meat, ground turkey, or ground beef with vegetables or whatever you'd like to enjoy it with. That's a really good keto meal for me. It's just cooked vegetables or even raw vegetables with a bit of ground turkey or ground beef. Also, I got some bacon because that's kind of a keto staple in terms of fat heavy and a little bit of protein meat. We got mild Gouda and provolone slices. We picked these ones because they both had 0 grams of carbs per serving. There was other cheeses that had, 1 or 2 grams per serving, and that can actually add up pretty quickly. So it's probably important when you can to steer more toward no carbs. A quick reminder that I'm aiming for 20 grams of net carbs a day, which really is not a lot. And if you're adding 1 or 2 grams here and there, it can add up quite quickly. So that's kind of why I opted for the 0 gram of carb options for cheeses. Some other more, fat heavy things that we got are these pork rinds, which are actually fat and protein. I didn't really know what pork rinds were before my keto journey the last time, but they're fried pork skins, which doesn't necessarily sound the most appealing, but they're really good sources of fat. In 8 pork rinds, there are 6 grams of fat and 8 grams of protein and 0 grams of carbs. So that's kind of a really good keto-friendly option. Something that we like to do with these that we've done in the past is to make guacamole, just crushed avocado and garlic and salt, and dip the pork rinds in them. And then you're getting extra healthy fats from the avocado as well. So that's an option there. We also picked up some MCT oil. This is kind of a really good staple. A lot of recipes for keto meals call for MCT oil, and it's just a really good way to get a bunch of fats into you, 14 grams of fat per tablespoon. Another really cool thing about MCT oil is that it actually causes or increases ketone production, which helps you to stay in ketosis and to produce more ketones, which your body is running off of for energy. So that's kind of a cool thing about MCT oil as well, and it's kind of a staple when you're on a keto diet. We also picked up a kind of ridiculous sized package of coconut oil. I guess this is just what you get when you shop at Costco, but we will probably use it because it's another staple for getting a lot more fat into your cooking as well. Macadamia nuts, these are an excellent snack to just get. They're kind of fat bombs essentially. These are kind of awesome, and you can get them from Costco as well. They are Parmesan cheese crisps. And again, they're another good way to get fats and proteins into you. We got avocados. These are a great staple for getting healthy fats and kind of throwing them into every meal. Some other kind of ways to increase your fat content in a meal is mayo. So we will do chopped salad and add mayo, or you can add mayo to lettuce wraps or whatever you may want to add it into. We got this kind of organic, it's not organic, but it's ranch, but it's made with avocado oil instead of vegetable oil or, saturated oils like that. And same with the mayonnaise. And so that's kind of important to look for as well in terms of just a healthier option. Also, ways to up your fat intake are things like coconut milk, or more specifically, coconut cream. Those are kind of really nice options to cook with to make nice sauces. And another nice treat that we discovered the last time we did keto was actually to dip berries in this coconut cream. It's a nice way to kind of have a dessert treat and something that's sweet and nice to eat, but it's still high in fat. And the berries are kind of one of the only fruits that you can eat on keto because other fruits have a lot higher carbs and sugars in them. And so you, generally speaking, I think raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, not sure on strawberries, but definitely raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries are okay in terms of having a low carb fruit option. So kind of limited options in terms of fruit, but vegetables, there is a lot more options in terms of not having as many carbs as fruits do. They do still have, a small amount of carbs, which can add up. I think I was logging a Greek salad and it had like 10 grams of carbs in the serving that I had. And so, it can add up pretty quickly, but so long as you're mindful of also including more fats and proteins and whatnot, it can be okay to eat more vegetables. So we got asparagus. Kind of staples in our house are broccoli and cauliflower, which we will be eating more of with keto as well. Mushrooms, and basically our kids' favorite vegetables are peppers and tomatoes, so we got that. And I think that they're still okay. They probably are a little bit more carb heavy than broccoli or cauliflower, but it's still okay to eat those in moderation. We got a bunch of romaine hearts for lettuce wraps and for salads and for whatever else we want to throw that into. Alfredo sauce, that's fairly low in carbs. Well, maybe not. Per quarter cup, it's got 5 grams of carbs. but I'm going to guess that you probably wouldn't use a 1/4 cup on a serving of pasta. We've eaten this on zoodles before, which are just noodled zucchini. You can put it through this machine that makes noodles out of your zucchini, and they're a pretty tasty alternative to regular pasta. We also found these, which I'm quite excited about, and I've already been dipping into quite a bit. They're garlic stuffed olives, and there are 0 grams of carbohydrates in them, in 2 olives, in any of them. So they're really nice that way. In 2 olives, there's 1 gram of fat and 0 grams of protein. So there's actually not a lot of nutritional value to these. They've got a little bit of fat, but they're also kind of just a nice snack that you can have on keto. Some of the things that we got that I'm not totally sure about, and I need to check with my keto coach, Nicole, and those are things that are, products that you see in the store that are marketed as keto. But how keto are they really when it comes to adhering to a strict medical keto where you're only allowed 20 net grams a day? But we found some options that look, based on the nutrition value, that they would be okay. So there's these keto tortillas, which you can make wraps with or do anything you would do with a tortilla. And per 1 tortilla, there's 3.5 grams of fat. There is 22 grams of carbs, but 20 grams of those are fiber. So there's only 2 grams of net carbs in 1 tortilla, and then 3 grams of protein. So it seems like a decent substitute for tortillas, but I do want to talk more about it with my keto coach, Nicole, to see if they actually are okay to eat on keto. And then I missed talking about this, but we just got a nice big flat of organic eggs. It's a great way to get in protein as well as fats, and very minimal carbs, I think, in eggs. So this is a really good option on keto as well to kind of have in your repertoire. So that's kind of the big haul, if you will, grocery haul for keto. And I kind of touched briefly upon what we're planning to do with some of this food, but I do really want to take you guys along to show you some really handy and good recipes that you can do with this food as well. So we will be bringing you along in future videos. Maybe in this video I'll show you a recipe or two, but yeah, we want to be showing you what we're making as well with the food that we're getting. We also forgot these 2 things in our freezer, but we got some fish, mahi-mahi. It's a good source of protein. Not very much fat, but no carbs, so that's good. And then we also got this cauliflower rice, which I'm really excited about. We have not tried this kind before, the frozen cauliflower rice, but I'm excited to try it out. It's very low on carbs. I think there's 2 grams net carbs per 3/4 cup, 0 grams of fat and 2 grams of protein. So it really is just more of a rice substitute. There's not a lot of value in terms of fats or proteins. It's more just kind of a bit of a filler starch, but not a starch in a meal. So I think we're actually going to try to use this tonight. We're going to make some cauliflower rice and do one of the proteins and maybe some vegetables and maybe a sauce, and that will be our keto meal. So maybe we'll bring you along for that too.
I have a question about we were wondering about these keto products, which I have on here, the keto tortillas. According to the nutrition facts, they seem fine, in terms of being 22 grams of carbs, but 20 grams of those are fiber. So 2 grams net carbs per 1. Is this okay, or is stuff like this okay?
So here's what we say. So a well-formulated ketogenic diet that is focused on recovery of brain function, right? In a healthy brain, does not have any grains. There is a research literature that talks about gluten, and gluten loosening the blood-brain barrier, allowing more things into the brain for the nervous system, the immune system to react to. So there is a research literature around that. And so we when we have people grabbing the wheat tortillas that are still low carb, we kind of call that dirty keto. Maybe you've heard of that or seen that. It's a little bit dirty keto. We got the grains, we've got the seed oils, we don't have the fatty, the good fats type of thing. It's about the carb count and not about the quality or the functional properties of the food that we're taking in. So I always tell my people that if we're doing a well-formulated ketogenic diet for brain health, we're going to take out those grains and we're going to minimize or reduce access to the seed oils.
Okay.
And that's just how I do it, and I think that works really well for most people. But I get the want for a tortilla. I get it.
Yeah, it was nice eating that, but I hear you that's probably a no-go. So, okay.
Yeah. So there's a product called egg wraps,
Okay.
which is a really nice. They're a little bit expensive, but they're really nice. I think they're like $2 a tortilla when you math it out. But they're nice. They make a nice tortilla. Egg wraps is good. Folios is good. It's cheese, so you got to be careful if you try to put your hot taco stuff in it. It will melt. But that does not happen with the egg wraps. So there's some alternatives, and then I think it is a good psychological practice or shift. Eventually you'll get to this where you won't even miss the tortilla. You'll just kind of eat everything in a bowl and be perfectly happy. Believe it or not, that's coming. But yeah, so there's that piece.
I think I might have also glossed over a little bit the difficulty of kind of revamping how you think about food. And that's been kind of a challenge this week in terms of rethinking how I do grocery shopping and rethinking what kinds of food are good for me and kind of readjusting how I think about food. And it's a whole other video and a whole other issue tackling our pantry and getting rid of all of the things that we can no longer use or no longer eat. And it is tricky because we do have kids who still love carbs and whatnot. And so there are some things that we need to keep, but we will try to bring you along for that as well, where we completely go through our pantry and fridge, get rid of the things that we can no longer really use or eat, and kind of replace it with keto-friendly options.
You took your tongue out?
This has been kind of a transition week where I've been aiming to hit about 60 to 70 grams of carbs as kind of a stepping stone, I guess, to full medical keto, where I'm aiming to get 20 grams of carbs. So this is kind of, again, a transition week into next week where it will be full keto, I believe, where I'm looking to get my specific macros, which include 20 grams of carbs a day. So with that, since this is kind of a first step into ketosis, I have started to measure my ketones. And the way I've been doing that so far is through this breathalyzer. It's called Biosense. So what this measures is your ACEs number, and your ACEs number range between 0 to 40, and it tells you how much fat you are burning for energy. So the lower the number it gives you, the less fat you're burning, and the higher the number, the more fat you're burning. When you're burning fat, you're in ketosis. So you kind of want a higher number. And the way it breaks down is I think it ranges from 0 to 40. 0 is no ketones, so you're not at all in ketosis. ACEs 1 through 4, there's trace ketones, so you're starting. 5 through 9, you're in low ketosis. And 11 through 30, you're in moderate ketosis. And 31 through 40, you're in high ketosis. So my understanding is that you're aiming for something within that 31 to 40 range. But it does say that ACEs that are 5 or more, you are burning more fat than you are storing. So technically you are in ketosis, but I think what we're aiming for is that higher level of ACEs. So I will turn this on. So it is preparing at the moment. It says that my last one was 7. This morning when this morning when I measured, it was 7, and last night it was 10. So last night I was in moderate ketosis, and this morning I was in low ketosis. So we will see where I'm at now midday today. So I'm going to press start. Get ready. Success. Analyzing. You're supposed to measure about 60 minutes after eating or drinking anything flavored. Oh, so I'm in 6, so I'm in even lower ketosis now. It might be that I ate too recently, that it's also throwing off the measurement. This kills me. I don't know why it's vibrating so intensely, but okay. Just let it wait for it till it's done. Okay, so this Biosense breathalyzer monitor also coincides with an app where you can track things. So this is kind of where I've been last night, this morning, and this afternoon, or midday today right now. Actually, I did just eat lunch, and I was supposed to do it before lunch, so I did not do this properly. But you're supposed to do it before you eat. But yeah, when you're starting off, you should be tracking at multiple points throughout the day because your ketone levels can change throughout the day, is my understanding, until you kind of know when your lowest range time of day is, and then you can kind of only measure during that time if you'd like. But on top of this breathalyzer, we are going to be trying other ways of measuring ketones too. So one of the ones that I'm really excited about, well, actually the only one that we tried last time was a breathalyzer, and it wasn't as good as this one either. But this time around, we're doing the breathalyzer. We're going to be doing a continuous ketone monitor, which is essentially this patch which stays on your arm and continuously measures your ketone levels. Pretty excited to see about that. It lasts for about 2 weeks and then you have to change the patch out again, but we're going to be using that as soon as it gets here. And probably starting that next week. And then we are also going to be using blood prick ketone strips, which measure the ketone levels in your blood. So you just prick your finger with it and then measure it through the device. So that hasn't arrived yet either, but hopefully they will arrive by the end of this week and we'll be able to start using them next week when we start full keto.
So I just got back from a run and I'm going to test my ketones or my ACEs before starting to cook dinner. Six. Oh no. I was at 20 earlier today. So just a reminder, what this is measuring is my ACEs, which is essentially how much fat you're burning for energy. And so 6 is in the low ketosis range. Earlier today I was in moderate ketosis, so I don't know, I think the aim is to be in high ketosis. So we will see how next week goes when I'm in full medical keto. Cooking dinner with a toddler. Okay, so we are making dinner right now and I'm just cutting up some vegetables to roast. We are going to be doing that as well as some grilled tofu and cauliflower rice with vegetable oil, avocado oil mayo. That's important as kind of a dressing for the rice tofu veggie bowl. So yeah, that's what we're making tonight. So I just showed you what Nicole said about these types of products and why they're really a no-go for when you're using the keto diet to treat things like mental illness because of the gluten that's inherent in grain products. And really, when you're using the keto diet to treat mental illness, you shouldn't be having any grain products at all. So learned that today from Nicole. Thank you, Nicole, for teaching me about that, and we won't be buying these products anymore either. The meal that we're cooking tonight really isn't that complicated. It's cauliflower rice, some vegetables, tofu, and then topping it off with mayo. And it really shouldn't take longer than about a half hour or even less time than that. And that's kind of what I tend to stick to when I'm cooking meals for my family, is quicker recipes that are pretty easy to follow. But that said, I realize that there are a lot of people where 30-minute recipes even feel like a daunting task. But I think there's a need to move away from the easier, quicker, prepackaged processed foods and more toward cooking with whole foods and exploring recipes that are going to ultimately benefit your body and brain more. I've been instructed to weigh all my food because when you weigh it, it's a lot, more accurate, I guess, in terms of the macros that you're taking in. Get a little bit more. I like broccoli. This is how it all came together. We probably need bigger bowls if we're going to be making these types of meals. It is a base of cauliflower rice with some grilled tofu and then roasted broccoli, cauliflower, and zucchini, and then an avocado oil mayo to kind of bring it all together and make a little bit of a bowl out of it. And it's actually really, really tasty. Forgot there's also avocado in there too. So a good source of fat, healthy fat. So I'll go over the macros with you guys too about what exactly the nutritional breakdown is and how this fits into keto. So the overall macros for this whole meal are 26 grams of protein, 9 grams of carbs, and 40 grams of fat. So that's pretty good in terms of focusing on fat intake, keeping carbs down, and still getting a decent amount of protein in. I'm a big fan of this meal, and I think this is probably going to be a staple for ours going forward. Really, the main place where we got carbs in this meal are from the roasted vegetables. It's kind of amazing how quickly carbs can add up through vegetables. But I don't know, I really like vegetables. And so if that's the main place that I'm going to get my 20 grams of carbs, that's okay.
So thanks for coming along with me on week 2 of our keto journey. This has been kind of a transition week in terms of taking a first step into getting into the full medical keto diet. So I'm looking forward to seeing what next week has in store. And we'll also have a lot more videos coming to you, getting into specifics about each of these tools that I mentioned, getting into specifics about recipes, and also getting into specifics about other life changes that I'm making too, to work on other metabolic therapies that kind of go hand in hand with the keto diet as well. So stay tuned for all of that. This is kind of also the beginning of our journey, and we're really interested in hearing what you guys want to hear more about following us along on this journey. So if there's any aspects of this experience that you want us to make a video on or talk more about, please let us know in the comments below, and we'll do our best to address as much as we can. Thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, wishing you and your loved ones good health. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.